this world walks with an evil kind, but they do not know that they can divide themselves from that evil that is in them through grace, through the science of grace. And then the idea is to separate the mind from the carnal body and thus be able to live in the spirit. Once that is divided, then you discover your true identity, that you are not a drug addict, you are not an alcoholic person, you are not the person you were before, you are not the thief. No, you are a perfect spirit, but out of ignorance, because you had never heard the gospel, you couldn't make a difference between those two. That's why Paul ends by saying, we can look at verse 25 again of chapter 7. It says, I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then with the mind, I myself, with the mind I serve the law of God, but with the flesh, if I try to use my flesh, I will end up serving the law of sin. Because you do not have to sin to be found a sinner. You are a sin. You are a walking sin. Your body is an evil body, a body of sin. That is why the apostle gives us this advice. Look, your body represents the law of works. Your mind represents the law of faith. By the mind, you will live by faith. With the body, you will live by works. How much harm does it do not to know this truth? The world by not separating these two. Lives in chaos. In the chaos we were living before, how much damage it did us. The consequences to live. He who does not know this, the consequences of living in disorder, in vices, in adultery, in fornications, in quarrels, gossip, grudges, hatred, these are the works of the flesh. Therefore, in Galatians, in chapter 5, verse 16, it says, but I say, walk by the Spirit, walk in the mind, and you will not carry out the desire of the flesh, for the flesh lusts against the Spirit. Do you see the duality there, verse 17? For the flesh lusts against the Spirit. In simpler terms, you possess a harmful body aiming to endanger your well-being. You may have wonderful plans, and you discover that you got it wrong, but it's not from outside. The struggle is of yourself. Your flesh, if you do not know how to govern it and divide it, will focus itself on you with deceitful desires until it does its mischief to you. That is why it says here, verse 17, for the flesh lust is against the Spirit, and naturally, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. They are contrary to one another. The flesh speaks to us. And you see, you who are enlightened and have grown in grace with your spirit, you say, I do not receive that. I have to take this captive before this monster grows and it becomes like a snowball that gets tangled up, and eventually you explode and make mistakes and then regret them. Your true identity is spirit.